So I'll give you guys a little warm up here. You've heard Spiritsurge. Spiritsurge is I like to call him a monster stack. But he is, when they talk about devs, they say front end, back end, full stack. Spiritsurge is the type of guy. He's got a fourth and a fifth stack. He's gone out and he's learned how to be a project manager, how to do all the different advanced math. I mean, he's into like 3D vector renderings and stuff. He just has more stacks than anybody. Probably one of the smartest guys I ever met, because whatever needs to be done, he figures it out. But yeah, he's just one of those amazing guys. He's just one of those guys that can do what needs to be done. And I like that. And one of the things we want to get into it, he's been working very hard to do some things that no one's ever done on Hive before. Things that they said were impossible. We're going to get into that. He's also expanded his team. He's used the funding that he's gotten very wisely, in my estimation. So we're going to kind of dig into that. Welcome once again to Deep Web3 Secrets. We today are surging in our spirit because we have the one, the only Spiritsurge, project founder of Astral Wars and more. Spiritsurge, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for taking your time, Eco.
Oh, pleasure is all mine, man. Where are you located in the world right now, my friend? You've been building big things. Tell us a little something about yourself.
So I have a game studio here in the UAE. I'm stationed in Dubai. And for me to even talk on Discord, I have to connect a VPN because Discord audio is not allowed in the UAE. So that's just a little bit of a fun fact. So I'm stationed over here. I run a game studio here. Officially, it's an LLC, and we have been doing it for 2 years now.
You've been building for a while, preparing to do something that they said was impossible. You're going to get a Hive game listed on Google Play. Let's go right to the nucleus of this thing. Is that easy? Is that hard? I log into Google Play and there's a whole bunch of crappy apps on there. What is so hard about it? And why have you worked so hard to do it?
So the whole aspect that started this was back in 2021. I joined Hive. It's not only my Hive journey starting, it was also my crypto journey. This was like the first chain I was exposed to back in 2021, which is, not very, very unique or very, unique for an Arab, because in this part of the world, in the Middle East, things get started late. So when I joined the Hive scene, the obvious, 3-second block speeds, gasless transactions, they all stood out to me, right? Oh, okay, you know what? This is really cool. But let me check what's happening on the other side. And that's when the nightmare of Ethereum gas fees, the slow block speed of Algorand, the centralized shutting and switching on and switching off Solana. I got exposed to all of that, and each time I kept thinking, you know what? What do I want to do? What do I want to do? I want to create tech. I want to create new tech. I want to work with new tech. I want to create new stuff. I went to a chain. I started to think, hey, you know what? Maybe this is the chain I'm going to stay. Something happened, and I had to always go back to Hive. So I spent my first year, playing Splinterlands, playing all sorts of games, all sorts of Web3 games. And for reference, I'm a diehard gamer. I take games and I play them till the death. I play the hardest difficulty. I'm a masochist when it comes to gaming. I have to do 100% completion on achievements. I'm that type of gamer. So what I was thinking is, okay, I've spent my time, working in the field, in the corporate world. I've been working as a project manager. I've not always been a programmer. My background comes I'm an electrical engineer, and I have spent, 10 plus years in the oil field, right? Not even related to, gaming. It's not even related to anything else. It's just oil field and, managing people, managing things. I learned a lot about managing a business there. And that's where basically I went from, you know what? Since I've been 6 years old, I wanted to make games, right? But your life is basically decided by your parents, for us at
Let me
least.
jump in here.
So
Let me jump in here. It sounds like you were a corporate guy. You were in the oil fields. That sounds hot and sweaty. And so you were kind of, your love of games was kind of your recreation in that period. But would you say that the skills you learned in that corporate and industrial world, have you been able to bring any of those into your new gaming business?
so the most interesting thing is, you can be a programmer, right? But there are certain aspects of project management and managing people that you only learn on the field, right? Or it requires experience. You need to manage. You have to go through the experience of managing people, them getting cross at you, you getting cross at them, upward management, sideward management, downward management, before you learn all of these things. For me, I had the advantage of, yes, because I had learned these things, right? I had learned what not to do. I had learned, okay, what not to say to this particular employee. Or, hey, you're getting this much money. This is how you're going to negotiate. Or this is where you're going to control your costs. And we basically taken that. I basically took that and I left all my corporate stuff work behind, went to UAE, opened a studio here, started a business, hired people, and then with whatever little funds we had, we basically made it so that we could create a wonderful gaming experience for users. The focus was, and that comes from corporate, the focus is product. Product is the most important thing that you can create. Buzzwords, all of that is good and nice. I'm not denying any of those things. All of those things have value. But if you want to create something memorable, something unique, the product comes first.
Nailed it. Very interesting. Okay, and so this brings us back around in the, you mentioned Solana. I like to call that proof of centralized database. But, Solana works great, kind of like Visa, until the centralized database goes down, and then it's a really bad customer experience. So you mentioned a lot of experience testing out these other things. Kind of reminds me of when I was getting into crypto. You just kind of all roads lead back to Hive if you really look into the tech and the reality and you kind of scope it out. You say, well, Hive is the only thing that really has the possibility to do something interesting. All the other ones have their own problems, a lot of good lessons learned. That's how iteration works. But I want to wrap this back to Google. I feel like Google is somehow central to this. We have bridges, right, through Coinbase and Binance, but they're all monetary bridges. We don't really have any attention bridges yet. And it sounds like what you're about to launch is the biggest attention bridge we've ever had. Do you want to, however you want to tackle it, from now moving backwards or from how that idea came upon you, let's talk about the elephant in the room, Google Play.
My original idea was not to target Google Play at all, right? It was, let's make a game, let's make a good product, and, let's break the chain where every single game has to be a Web3, it has to be a WebGL game, where everything has to be on browser, That became the whole problem. If you're trying to take games and you put everything on the browser, you can't create the ultimate experience. You have severe limitations when you go ahead and start creating browser games. This is a fact. I mean, it's nothing to do with be biased or anything. It's because you have your JVM machine basically when you are initiating anything on the browser, and that takes all the code from C# and converts it to JavaScript and to run it, and that brings out severe limitations and problems. So my whole idea was that, okay, you know what? Let me focus on creating a product that can work on Windows. Now, my next step would be to connect Hive to that Windows app. That required me to learn another language, right? So I already knew C Sharp. I had to learn JavaScript, and then I had to learn Node.js. That was the backend I had to create. So once I created that backend, and now we have this, okay, now I have this really nice front end in forms of Unity. I have this really nice backend in the form of Node.js, which is now connecting with Hive. Now we had a new problem. That was how do we connect multiple apps to a single database? And for that, I had to basically learn React, which is our front end website, which, by the way, if someone can share the link, that would be, great. And then what happened is we created our website and we connected that to the backend. Okay, great. Now we have a Windows app that runs the game. We have a website that connects to the same backend. And that's when my head started spinning. Hey, wait a minute. What's the limit here? So then I created a Windows launcher to make it more professional, where you open the launcher, you download the game automatically updates each time you make changes, right? And it results in a good user experience. And then when I did that, well, then the fourth thing happened was, hey, why not create an Android app? Why not create an iOS app? Well, that's the next step. We got all of these things done. We had 5 different apps on 5 different platforms doing 5 different things, and they were all connected to a single backend. And it had a Hive connection. Well, I would say pseudo Hive connection. There's still some limitations of Hive that we have yet to come across. So I'll cover those later. So when you have these 5 things, then came the time of the time came to commercially make them profitable. So we then started touching the companies one by one. We touched Apple. Hey, let's get the game on App Store. Apple was severely anti-crypto at that time. This is back in 2023. And they basically said, F off, right? We then went to Steam. Steam gave us a run around for a long time where they said, yeah, we'll see. It's not like you have any options and all of that kind of stuff. So then we went to Google Play. We went to Google Play, Android. And Google Play was very open to the idea of having a crypto game on Play Store. So that became our target. We had limitations, but I'm hoping that when these limitations are going to be eventually gone, we'll have them on every single platform.
Yeah, let me just jump in here. That's the way it goes, right? Steam, I think, was I remember that saga very well. They seemed to believe that you had to bend the knee to them, but what a cool thing to watch you not. Instead, learn a new language and do a new thing and look for really the options. Okay, so I want to get into the game here in case anybody here is not so techy. Let's take a break from the tech, although that was all fascinating for me, and I want to get back to it near the end, maybe. But you have just released Astral Wars Exploration Mode. Okay, and so anybody who's listening to this now or later can jump in. If Batty can share the link to the Astral Discord. What is exploration mode? And based on what you've told us about user experience, what can we expect here about how much fun we're going to have, and how is this different from other games that already exist? Tell me why this is so exciting and why we should be excited about it.
So one of the most important things about a good game, what makes a good game, is where you drive your users. And the best way to drive users is to give them options, right? This is something that several games miss out. They make a campaign mode. The campaign mode is extremely linear. They're like, do this, then do this, then do this, then do this. And then you get stuck. Then you have to pay money. You get money done, then you proceed. I want you to break that chain because that doesn't make a good game. What we wanted to do was something different. And that was, okay, let's make a map, but let's give the user the option of which path he wants to take. And along those paths, there are going to be factions that basically you can choose to ally. It's up to you who you want to ally yourself with, right? Because now there's a story element that's coming into play. You're on this weird world, you're in this strange world. You don't know anything. You just know it's been invaded. And it's your job to, traverse through that map and find answers. And as you're finding answers, you also have to make a decision on, okay, it's not just saving the world from invaders. What comes next, right? It's the same aspect about war. Fine, there is war. War's going to happen. Let's have this war, right? But for what? What comes after? So there's a lot of stuff that's going to be touching in this particular mod on what comes after. If you are able to look at the YouTube video that is there, you can see that there are several different looking factions that's there. You can denote them by color, by look, right? That gives you an idea. Okay, so this faction controls this section. This faction controls this section. So once it's all, done, where you have completely taken over the world, who's doing what and why? Who's going to rule? Who's not going to rule? Who are you basically going to make extinct? All of these are choices that come with this particular mod. This is something that's extremely missing in game mods because they tend to be linear. Here, we're offering a choice. You can choose to be extremely villainous and annihilate everyone. That's a choice. You make it. Or you can take the path of a paragon. Again, up to you. You make the choice. So this was one of the things that we wanted to bring to the table for this particular, mod. That's what was in mind. Another aspect of the exploration mod that comes with it is you have limited resources of, traversing the map. You have limited amount of keys, which you will use to traverse the map every day. These will refill on a daily basis. So when you are basically going to challenge a stage, you will use a key. Now, if you lose, well, it's not the end of the world. You can try again if you have keys. But the important thing is you have information about what kind of deck you're facing or what kind of situation you're facing. Now it's time for you to create a counter to it if needed, or if you just got unlucky, that can totally happen. So basically, that's how you basically will traverse. This is something that has been missing from, if you were to take the similar genre for these particular kind of games, you have Yu-Gi-Oh, you have Hearthstone, you have Magic the Gathering, you have Eternals, there you have Sky something, the Sky Sword. There's so many type of games, but all of these lack, these kind of mods that basically make it interesting for you to go back and, craft decks specifically for that particular thing. Or, you use your particular skill and, work against that.
Let me jump in here because a couple of things. But first of all, Snook has made me play Hearthstone before. And the one thing is like, okay, you play a couple rounds, you get it. It's kind of strategic, but the game is like clicking a button and finding an opponent. There's no story to Hearthstone. And so what I'm seeing here is there is a kind of a choose your own adventure here implicit in the battles. And so there's very strategic battles and you're learning. Maybe it's kind of a puzzler strategy because you have to build the right deck to beat a certain obstacle. But if you can't beat it, maybe you just go back and turn left instead of turning right. This is very interesting. And I shared this image here. Now, I see maybe 5, 6 very distinct zones, maybe 7 now that I'm looking more carefully. Can you tell us anything about these different zones? Are these represented by the different factions in the game? What can you tell us about the distinct areas on these map? There's different coloring. There definitely seems to be some disconnect with water features. Can you talk to us a little bit about design and geography in this world?
This is basically a world that has been afflicted. Right? When we talk about affliction, it means that it has been taken over by invaders. We don't know what the motive of invaders are, right? And that basically is your job. You need to figure out why this is happening. Why, there's a lack of water everywhere? Well, there's a lack of water because there's whirlpools everywhere. The water is being siphoned somewhere. Why is it going? Who's doing it? And et cetera, et cetera. So that's basically what you have to figure out. Now, there are different factions, and without, I don't want to spoil it. It would be good if you guys, went through the journey of investigating. You will, plow through the map and you would discover things. These things, when you clear a zone, and when you say a zone, I mean that particular section of a map, which you can see is very different. That's when there are some choices you have to make based on the information that is given to you. With that information, once you make your decision, that decision cannot be reset. This is basically how the experience is going to be. Now, this is not the end. This map will reset, but this map won't be like resetting, after a month, maybe not even after 2 months. It will depend on how fast or how easy it is for people to get through the map. Once the reset happens, you can do this journey again, but there's a twist. Things will be different each time. So this is essentially going to be the season 1 of this particular map.
Okay, that is fascinating. I don't know if you guys remember or if I'm just an old man, but I played Legend of Zelda on the NES with my father, and we finally managed to beat the game. And it was like, okay, now you can play it again. And it was just this minor change where every castle was different and every item was in a different place. And it was like a whole nother game. And it was just, and that was in the 80s. And I feel like not enough games do that anymore. This sounds so classic, but yet so fresh. I really like that idea. Okay, I want to go back to the keys. It sounds like I'm limited in exploration by the number of keys I have. Is this something I have to buy, or is it like I get a couple keys every day, or how does this work? What is the mechanism by which I'm limited in this game?
The keys is basically there for as a form of control of an opportunity cost. You're going to spend your time on this thing, right? You're going to spend your time on this mod. Where are you going? What are you doing? Do you want to do the easy levels first? What are you doing here? That's basically where the choice comes in. You have limited keys, and these keys are going to be limited for now, but in the future, we will be adding purchase options if you want to buy extra keys, but again, that will also be limited. This is not for the Web3 user. This is for the Web2 user. This game is being made for the Web2 user, and they will want to see these kind of features, hence we will put them in. And once you have this situation where you have this really hard level, now you have an option. You can either use all your keys trying to figure out step by step how to counter this particular mod or this particular stage. But let's say if you cannot figure it out, you then have an option of taking a completely different path, right? And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Just keep in mind, each time you complete a stage, right? There are 125 levels, one stage, you will get rewards. Those rewards you can then use to open crates, to get you better cars, to get you better things, right? To make things easier for you. Maybe there's like a key card you really want to counter that particular deck. Well, you can't get it because, well, you haven't drawn it from a crate. No problem. You get enough coins or card essences, you can directly buy that card from the collections panel. So you've even, allowed that particular aspect for the users and made it really free to play friendly, meaning it's not, we don't want this game to be pay to win. So you guys can still, without investing a single dime, keep playing the game and getting through it step by step. That's how it's designed. This is the most resource-rich mod that exists right now in Astral Wars. So if you are plowing through and you hit a wall, no problem. Do the other levels. You're gonna unlock stuff from that. That's gonna definitely help you getting closer to completing that level, to completing that stage, and figuring out, you get more experience as you get through mods. That just makes it easier for you.
Okay, fascinating. One thing, I have a love-hate relationship with card packs, or you're calling them crates in this game, but it just seems like the one card you need is always the one that never drops. So you're telling me I can convert whatever I'm earning into essences and I can directly buy the card I need? You're telling me that I can eliminate that hate part of the love-hate relationship with the random crates and random packs?
Absolutely. I mean, you're not the only one who hates not drawing cards from the crates. It's been an enormous peeve of mine when I've been playing card games. Man, I just need one card. I just need one card. I need to draw it. I've opened countless Yu-Gi-Oh packs trying to draw a dumb Stardust Dragon for, I don't know, for whoever played Yu-Gi-Oh. It's a very infuriating experience. So what I did was, what if you could just buy the card at a higher price directly? You don't have to open crates, just buy it directly. And basically, that has worked really well for us in our testing. We have seen countless users convert their Stellarum to coins and buy those particular cards that they need to complete their decks and basically, rule over the multiplayer mod, the rank mod. I'm really happy I made that decision to put it in the game, and I think every game needs to do that. But I understand from a commercial perspective why people don't take that route.
I understand that there's gambling going on here. I recently watched, it was very popular, the CoffeeZilla episode on these, what is that, CSGO gambling casinos and stuff. But I think that this is the step in the right direction for player experience, if not corporate profit margins. But okay, you're talking about testing. You've done a lot of testing. Are you still testing? Is it something? Can I play right now? Can anyone listening here? What's the link they should click if they want to kind of try it out right now and earn some coins and buy some cards and level up their game account, and advance on this exploration mod? Is there a date? Tell me more.
The starting thing is that this game has been available for a long time on PC. What you can do is basically you can go to our website and you can download the launcher, right? This launcher has been specifically made for people like I've been making so many updates. Before, when I started out, I used to manually distribute people the updates. And that was very inconvenient for people. So then I took the whole step of let's make a launcher, right? Let's make a launcher. And what we'll do is for those who don't want this is the direct link if people can't find it. What you do is you take the zip, you extract it, and you just run the particular mod. How this basically works is that let me just give you a reference of how the launcher looks like, so you guys have an idea of how things work. Let me just take this quick screenshot. And
yeah, let me cover for you here. You paste the screenshot, I'll cover. I love the look of the 1.00. I think I remember downloading a much lower number that started with 0.0. Congratulations. Yeah. And as you post the screenshot and tell us about it, the next question will be about maybe that process and the iteration you've done. But yeah, tell us more.
So this launcher was made on Windows Presentation Framework, which is, okay, so you guys have heard about CSS. Well, this is a whole other beast. It's somewhat much nicer one. So what we basically did was we took the time, hired a team member who knew WPF, right? So while I was doing the C# programming, he did all the UI stuff, and basically we got this working. This was a long time ago. So that was one of the mods we had to do. There was a whole struggle we had with trying to connect it to Hive. So you can see that there are posts there that are basically being loaded from Hive, right? And we've struggled a lot trying to figure it out. In the end, we just had to give up and make a JavaScript backend just for the particular launcher. It was problematic for us because we had to learn so many languages to deploy so many apps, and it was so we had to do Java for Android apps, we had to do WPF for Windows Launcher, TypeScript for the React website, React, C# for the Unity app, and it's been a nightmare. So yeah, when you call me like, okay, you compliment me by saying, hey, you're someone who knows a lot of languages. It's not my choice. It is something that was inflicted upon me because I was trying to create a system for the users. And right now, this is one of the ways you can play the game. The another way you can play the game while making downloading the launcher and playing it on PC is that you guys can basically go to another link, which is
That's okay. I mean, I noticed at the top of this launcher, it says not only decentralized by Hive, which makes me squeal a bit inside. How exciting. It also says, alert, game is now live. How exciting is this? Let's click his links, everyone. I'm so excited. As soon as I get off this call, I'm going to start clicking links.
One of the things that I actually want to point out here that this is not only our game on Astral on this launcher. Our original game, which was basically Final Fantasy Tactics style game, we made an alpha for it. We changed our track towards this particular thing once we figured out that people were giving better responses on this type of genre of a game. So if you do jump into the launcher, feel free to check out the Final Fantasy Tactics style gameplay, and just click on the open. It will take you to a website. It was a WebGL game. If I had a choice, I would never make it in WebGL, but like back then, we had to figure something out. It has a Hive connection and everything.
Let's pause there because that's an important point, and I don't want to pass up on it. This is a game launcher. This is really starting to remind me maybe of almost a competitor to Steam. And this is maybe was the response when Steam told you, this is what happens when you tell Spiritsurge that he has to do something. He invented his own launcher. Can I get my game listed here? Is this for everybody's game? How does this launcher work?
Yes. So if you have a game and you want to basically want to put your game here, you're free to do it. You just have to give me certain things like logos and stuff like that, links you want to see, YouTube videos, and we will set it up for you. So, and this is like free of charge. Like, I'm not even going to ask any payments for this because we made this for the purpose for Hive games. It's just a pity that there's a lot of Hive games that are struggling, and some start and then some stop, and then some go awry, go the other direction. Some just take more time to set up, and that's okay. This is normal. This isn't a shock. This doesn't come as a shock to people and say, oh, these guys are thieves or whatever it is. Game development is hard. It takes time. This is a craft, and you need a team to perfect it. So everything takes time. So when we made the launcher, I was, completely mentally prepared that I'm not going to see another game on it for the next 2 to 3 years, because that's how long it takes for people to create a product that users will love. So this was basically the start. The whole idea of getting the experience of creating games, and creating the games like not just a game, it's a professional game. It looks nice. I'm not saying that it's a top end game, but it looks nice. It doesn't look like it's being made by one or two people. For in that case, the whole aspect is to share that particular gift with other people. Having gone through 2 cycles of creating a product, taking feedback, throwing it in the garbage, taking another one, scrapping it, making a UI, scrapping that UI, changing everything, making a game logic. No, people don't like it, changing everything. I've gone through the cycles multiple times now. And having gone through the cycle, I can empathize with people who say, I want to create a game. And then I know what they're going to suffer. This thing changes you because you have to deal with so many people, so many users, and to create that perfect product. Again, when I say perfect, it's perfect for you, not for them. So, and that's normal. That's okay. So I am more than willing to help people with what they want to do. If they want to create games, I'm here to help them when I can, where I can, share my expertise. As long as you're utilizing my team, if you're compensating for them, it's all good. So that's basically how it works. So there's a launcher. I've gone through the cycle. At the very least, I can share my experience with you so you can learn how to do things better.
Yes, well, that it sounds like you're a wealth of knowledge. Now, have you built some of these things in such a way that it would be easy to integrate with other people?
One of the things that took me a long time to learn, and this comes off a little techie, is something known as solid principles. So whenever you're programming, there is a five principles. Basically, it's like the rule of thumb you follow when you create a product. My first two products were horrible because I did not follow those. And I couldn't follow this because I didn't know that they existed, right? We learned programming back in 2004. You're not exactly, in touch with what you were doing back in 2004. It's been a long time. So once I got exposed to those, I had to sit down and change all my code because I had so much tech debt on me. I was trying to scale my code. I was trying to add new features into it, but it was a nightmare. I couldn't add into it because I hadn't followed the solid principles. So this was like a very tough lesson to learn from me. And once I learned it, I have been able to create perfect modular code. I have tested this already. I had recently had a client who wanted a unique type of game done, and what that resulted in was that within a month we were able to create that particular type of game for him. The reason is because we had so much of this modular code that we were able to import, and I don't discard that kind of code. Okay, you know what? Hey, it's a different game. It may be a different game, but camera work, panel switching, shops, panel character selection, menu screens, all of these are standard existing in every single game. So it is a simple case for us to take that code, modular code, and plug it in these type of games so that you get this product out faster. I know that year by year, as I start getting product out and start commercializing it, start learning about stuff, I will be able to get out unique games that people think are really hard to make, maybe out in 1 or 2 months, provided the artwork is done. The artwork is still a hassle.
Okay,
But
this is near and dear to my heart because I spent a lot of years building on a small scale, helping build a lot of bespoke things. And very recently, I just said, no more, never again. We're going to build Legos. And yes, you may need to update your modules as you go, but modularity and the reusable code pieces, I love this. And so I feel like this takes us back full circle to your experience as a project manager. And I think I understand that to be able to do this, you must be managing a team of people. What can you tell us to all of us, whether we're users or whether we're, trying to build things ourselves, about the importance of building a team and managing that team, especially with respect to your experience in the quote unquote corporate world before blockchain?
so one of the things that I learned and what I've really, really, really helped me out was the rule of hire slow, fire fast. So for those who don't understand, when you're in the corporate world, normally what happens is when you have these big projects, you just need people. So you just hire them as fast as possible without, really checking their competency. And what that results in is basically problems, tons of problems for you later on. Okay, you have a guillotine. Why? Because of this guy. And then you're stuck with contract, and then you're stuck around all of these things, and it just resulted in several headaches for me as a project manager. In this case, because, what I had done was I hired really slow. To keep my costs low, all my developers were final year students when I hired them. It's with the exception of one. So I have currently 4 developers, but over the lifetime of the cycle, I've had 6 developers. Two I hired slow, but I fired them really fast because I saw, okay, you know what? This isn't going to be promising. And the developers I have so far, 2 of them have been with me for over 1.5 years. It's because of them that And it's because of my team that I'm able to get out, these multiple products from different sections. And it's because of that I can work on different, multiple products. This is basically how it has been. It's the same thing with art, same thing with music. Same guys who were, founded this company with me back in 2022 are still with me. They're still taking a salary. And that was like one of the major things that I was able to, really make it so that this business could remain sustainable without, falling into this trap. Now, to keep the thing in mind, the bad decision, it's not like there's no bad decisions. There was a bad decision. This company was started in the start of their cycle, right? So we didn't have this $100,000 pre-sale stuff, $200,000 pre-sale stuff, $50,000 pre-sale stuff that other projects on Hive had. And that's fine. It's okay. We scored, right? And we were happy with that. A grand total of $9,000 over the course of 6 months. And we were happy with that. We learned, okay, this is what we have. We're going to tighten our belts. And what we're going to do is we're going to focus on building a rep, building a good rep, a rep that comes with, we can complete products. We can do nice, new, innovative things. So that has been our focus. And we finally gotten to the point where people, because of that hard work that we did in the first 2 years, are choosing to work with us and, give us more work, and basically keeps the shop running, keeps the business sustainable, and everyone has something to do. So yeah, that's how my corporate experience ties in.
Fantastic. Yeah, and you reminded me when you mentioned Yu-Gi-Oh so many times. We should start getting accustomed to this, but it always seems like everything's going good. We raise a lot of money. I think some of our biggest games on Hive have suffered from this. We plan out a runway, and all of a sudden you've activated the trap card. Bear market. Everything will go down and to the right for 3.5 years. And so it just is, that's not anything bad about anybody. It's just hard to deal with for anyone doing math. And so the bear market trap card has hit $1 million companies on multiple chains. And our very own Splinterlands, I think, has suffered from it, maybe survived more than a lot of things. A lot of projects on Ethereum are just dead because of this trap card, the bear market. So building a reputation, can you eat that? I mean, I know it sounds really good, but does that buy you lunch? I mean, you must have to balance it with the realities of money. Do you have any secret sauce for us about tightening the belt?
So one of the things that come with tightening the belt is people management. Everyone has desires. Everyone has ambition. Everyone has something that keeps them ticking and makes them, passionate for what they do. Could be anything from, okay, I'm doing this because I want to learn, to, hey, I want to start a family and therefore I'm doing this work. It's very important that you have people who are aligned with you. And that's why this comes from the whole philosophy of hiring slow. So in my case, and this might sound a bit heartless to some people, but it was a hard decision to make. If I found someone who was saying, I'm going to get married now and I want to have a family now, I knew that they are not going to be capable of, tightening their belt. It's going to become a problem for them. So I chose those people who wanted to look forward to it in a year or two. And I hired fast forward now, both my devs, we have 3 devs now. So both the older devs who I joined and said, hey, you want to marry like 1 year from now, are now married. So it worked out splendidly for us. They tightened their belts and we got work. They built their reps. We got work. They're getting paid and they basically, got married. They both had their honeymoons. They enjoyed their time and they're back now and they're working really hard. So that's how it works. People management is extremely, extremely important when it comes to deciding.
I think that's super wise. It's not about saying you can't do that. It's about saying, well, then maybe it's not the right time for you to be hired because I hire very slow. Oh, very wise, Spiritsurge. Do you? What else you got for us? I feel like you should write a book, maybe. Maybe you have a lot of wisdom. Are there any plans to distill these lessons into any sort of other type of content?
Uh, so I don't want to confuse anyone. While I've taken these lessons, I've learned it in hard ways. It's not. It's different for each person. It's different for each person's nature. A hot-tempered person, right, or an overly enthusiastic person, someone who's very passionate, cannot use the same, rule book or same playbook that I have used because they work different. So it varies from person to person. What you need to do is look inside yourself, right? Figure out what type of person you are, because that's the most important thing. This belt tightening thing is never going to happen if you don't know yourself and you don't know your limitations. And trust me, you will be tested. You will be tested. So you have to be someone who's first, you need to prepare yourself. Once you have prepared yourself and you are okay with it, everything else will come naturally to you. And the whole problem that happens, why these companies die down, is people don't test themselves. They're not the ones, they don't check what they're capable of or how much limitation is going to be. It's always going to be, hey, you know what? The first response for any game industry that's shutting down is, let's find investors. Let's find investors. Let me go to a VC. Let me go to a angel investor. And that's basically how they've been trained. So if you want to go to this belt tightening phase, you really need to know yourself. So that's like the first thing I would recommend. Do meditation, go to a psychiatrist, talk to your wife, to your partner, figure out who you are and are you capable of this?
Amazing. I feel like I'm in therapy right now. Fantastic. Okay, so as we get to the end of our session here, we've had a few call to actions, but let's just, first of all, the person listening is still to this show. What should I do first? Which link should I click? How do I get involved? How do I have the great user experience that Surgent International is offering?
Okay, so the first thing that you need to do, I've just attached the link, is to join our Discord. The reason is the Discord is the place where all our announcements go. Not everything is put in a post. And that becomes very hard when you are working in this kind of production environment where you're trying to ship products repeatedly from one end to another end to another end to another end. You don't have time to post. So a lot of the announcements I do go into this particular Discord. Once you go into the Discord, what you need to do is you need to go to the verification tab. In the verification tab, you need to click the heart, the blue heart that will give you the role of and gives you access to the whole chat of each section. We had to do this particular roundabout way because we had too many people coming in and spamming bots. So that's why the verification is there, and it has been very helpful for us. We haven't had like a major spam attack or anything like that because of this particular thing. So that's the first thing you need to do. The second thing that you will need to do if you want to play the game is just download the game either from the launcher, right, or the mobile. I've already attached the Google Play link. So you just need to go there and you need to give me an email, DM me an email address that I can put in because right now it's in closed alpha. So when it's in closed alpha in Google Play, you have to give the developer the an email address that which your Google Play email address, which once I put in the system, you'll have access to the download. Or you can wait, we have like 1 or 2 weeks left and the game will be in open beta then. So the first thing, what you need to do after you join the Discord, do the verification, is then download the launcher or download the game, run the game, check your tutorials, do the tutorials. Decide if this game is for you. Is this interesting? Is this making you curious, right? And if it is, once you finish the tutorial section, head to the challenges. See if you can work those out. Once you do the challenges, next step is to do the solo play. Play against AI. There's a variety of decks that have been provided to new users so they can learn the cards. You don't own any of these cards, but these deck combinations exist so you can learn different cards so that you're not going in blind when you're trying to learn how to play the game. Once you're done with solo play, now you can play against other people if you want, or you can then explore the exploration mod. So these are the things that I basically said that you can do. If, let's say, you finish the tutorial mod, you finish the challenge mod, you get a bunch of goodies, you decide, hey, I want to use these goodies, buy some crates, open up cards. Okay, but you know what? I'm not into this game. No problem. You can then head to our website, log in with your Hive account. Please keep in mind when you're registering an account for Astral Wars, it has to be the same name as the Hive account. So once it's same, you log in, take your cards, put them in auction, and then you get your coins and done. You have basically sold your assets to whoever wants to play it. So this is basically the whole concept of what you need to do from A to Z, and then decide if this game is for you or not. And that is the most important thing. I understand completely that chess is not for everyone. Some people like checkers. Some people like Scrabble. And this is one of those things. If you like this game, great. If you don't, stay for support. See what other games we're coming with. There are other clients that I'm working with. I cannot reveal their names or what kind of games I'm building for them, but it's happening on Hive. So there might be a certain genre that's of interest to you. So stay in the Discord. So, I mean, this is all I can give you a map of what I'm doing.
Fantastic. No, I think you laid it out real well. I tried to put the basics in text in case anybody catches the channel later. And just finally, to wrap it up, when will we have a Hive meetup in UAE?
I have no idea. I believe there was this whole discussion of having Hive Fest in Dubai. But now they've decided to do it in Kuala Lumpur, and I'm okay with that. I understand Dubai is a bit hard for people to get to, but if it was ever going to happen in Dubai, it would be a big thing because there are lots of crypto enthusiasts here, and this is a severely untapped market. I'm seeing really, really poor chains with poor optimization and executions, getting investors here. So this is a huge market that can be tapped into. But let's see. Slow and steady wins the race, and there's a lot of stuff Hive needs to do to be, where I would be comfortable saying, hey, you know what? We have this really nice tech that can have up to 100 million users.
Sounds like 2026 to me. Very cool, Spiritsurge. I want to thank you so much for your time. Is there any last words you want to share with us, either from your personal experience or from your building on Hive experience, as we wrap up this wonderful episode of Deep Web 3 Secrets?
So one of the things that I am doing is I'm working with the core dev team to understand certain depth, really, the core dev infrastructure. What then I intend to do is, after with the permission of the core dev team, is basically create tech that would allow people to create games easily on Hive without having and resorting to, doing the same old thing what everyone's doing. Make a browser game and then get frustrated because you can't create that kind of, experience for users, and then you just end up creating a subpar game.
Sounds like it's about to get next level up in here. Well, everybody, that was our episode today. We'll end the recording there and open up the open mic section for you all. Thank you once again for joining us, Spiritsurge. And until next time, this has been Deep Web 3 Secrets.